In the state of New South Wales, Australia, there are many areas which are commonly known by regional names. Regions are areas that share similar characteristics. These characteristics may be natural, such as the Murray River, the coastline, or the snowy mountains. Alternatively, the characteristics may be cultural, such as a viticulture land use. New South Wales is divided by numerous regional boundaries, based on different characteristics. In many cases, boundaries defined by different agencies are coterminous. In New South Wales, on the third tier of elected government after the federal and state governments, are the local government authorities, which are responsible for the local government areas. The types of LGAs in New South Wales are cities, municipalities, shires and regions. New South Wales has more than 150 local government areas which have an elected council and carry out various functions delegated to them by the Government of New South Wales. The Australian Bureau of Statistics has moved towards a new geographical classification called the Australian Statistical Geography Standard. Geography is now divided into Statistical Area Level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Statistical Area Level 4 is the highest and Statistical Area Level 1 being the lower. For older statistics, such as the 2006 Census of Population and Housing, the Australian Bureau of Statistics has multiple regional structures for which it analyzes and reports data. These regional structures derive from the Australian Standard Geographical Classification, which is the common base unit for each of the larger regional structures. The boundaries of the SLA are designed to be typically coterminous with local government areas, unless the LGA does not fit entirely into a statistical subdivision, or is not of a comparative nature to other LGAs. Bureau of Statistics provides statistics for local government areas, as well as 3 other statistical structures: statistical divisions, statistical regions, and statistical districts. Statistical divisions form the main structural hierarchy of statistical analysis. These regions are structured to provide a broad range of social, demographic and economic statistics. The basis for the boundary delineations center on socioeconomic criteria. The 13 divisions for New South Wales are: the statistical region structure was established in 1986 as a means for labor force analysis. The statistical district is a non-capital, urban region of one or more adjoining areas, with a population of 25,000 or more. The SDIST is defined with consideration of a 20-year growth forecast. The SDIST does not need to conform to LGA boundaries or to state territory boundaries. The 13 statistical districts in New South Wales are: the interim biogeographic regionalisation for Australia is a biogeographic regionalisation of Australia, divided into 89 bioregions and 419 subregions. Each region is a land area made up of a group of interacting ecosystems that are repeated in similar form across the landscape. Regions and subregion cross state and territory boundaries. The bioregions that are located within all or part of New South Wales include: New South Wales is also informally divided into a smaller number of regions. These regions have no general administrative function or status. Many of them are only vaguely defined, or are defined in different ways for different purposes. For example, departments of the New South Wales government, such as the New South Wales Police Force, or the Ministry of Health, define regions of the state for their own internal administrative purposes. These regions may be defined in completely different ways, as shown by the maps in the references. The original basis for descriptive regional names in New South Wales is based on the geography of the state. The state can be divided into 4 components. These 4 components are then typically divided into north, central and southern components based upon their location relative to Sydney. This two-way subdivision gives rise to the generic pattern of regions, and in some cases, subregions. The Australian Bureau of Meteorology divides New South Wales into 16 districts. The Department of State and Regional Development lists 14 regions in New South Wales. The Office of Local Government listed 12 regions. Local governments in New South Wales have created regional groupings. The NSW regional organisations of councils, typically with names like Western Sydney Regional Organisation of Councils, have the main function of lobbying the state government on various matters, coordinating economic development, joint purchasing between councils and regional promotion. They have no formal administrative function. There are 13 networks of regional organization. In addition to the 6 networks in Greater Metropolitan Sydney, the Department of Planning, Industry and Environment divides New South Wales into 10 regions. The New South Wales Ministry of Haya,